Okay, we'll call the meeting to order for the county board. We'll start with a moment of silent meditation and the pledge of allegiance, and please remember the first responders for all they do. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Under the chairman's report, the weather got decent enough to where Missy could drive up from Appleton and give us a short presentation on East Central Regional Planning Commission. So we'll just let her do her talk, and then we'll take questions after if there's any questions of her.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Melissa Kramer-Badke. I'm the Executive Director with East Central Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission. Just a little bit about myself. I've been with the Planning Commission for 18 years. In 2020, I was appointed the interim executive director and then formally appointed the executive director in August of 2020. Prior to me being in this role, I worked primarily on transportation. And so my background is in corridor studies, our regional safe routes to school program, and then working through federal requirements for different projects that we receive funding for. So I just wanted to talk to you today about a few things that the commission has been doing and just provide a brief update about the things that we're doing here in Shawano County. So over the past 2 years, we've been working as the commission to leverage in state and federal funding for core program areas. Those core program areas include regional comprehensive planning, economic development, transportation, and our water quality management program. In addition to this, we also administer the NR 135 non-metallic mining program for Shawano County as well. And this program, for the NR 135 program, we administer it currently for 4 counties, including Shawano, and recently received word from Calumet County that they'd also like us to administer their program again. And so there will be a contract that we're currently in the process of updating, and so you will be seeing a contract come through later this year with some updates to that particular program for your consideration and review. In addition to that, we've been working with some local communities here in Shawano County, and that includes the city of Shawano, and we recently completed their comprehensive plan and a bicycle pedestrian plan for this community. And then in the town of Lesser, we're currently working on their comprehensive plan, which is being updated and shall be completed later in the next couple of months. As part of our reorganization plan that we've been implementing, we also did a reduction in levy funds for each of our member counties. We currently have 8 member counties in our 10-county region. And here in Shawano County, the levy in 2020 was approximately $49,452,000. We've reduced that in 2022 to $29,919, which is a difference of approximately $20,000. With this, even though we've reduced our levy, we've still received in additional federal funding for some of our program areas, and I'm just going to talk about a couple highlights for you. The CARES Act is one grant that we received from the Economic Development Administration. East Central is currently an economic development district, so we work with communities on implementing economic development initiatives and working with them to do implementation and receive funding from EDA. The CARES Act funding is $400,000 over 2 years, and we received that in 2020. We're developing a resiliency plan for the region, and then recently we conducted a technical assistance program where we worked with communities that applied for assistance. We hired a consultant, Ayers Associates, and they came out and met and did a 1-day visit with some of the communities to talk about areas where they wanted to implement additional economic development activity. So I'll just give one example. The village of Winneconne in Winnebago County has some property that's located along the river, and they're looking for economic development opportunities. So we spent the day with some of the local business leaders and then also with our consultant, Ayers Associates, and ourselves, and did a tour, looked at downtown, how can they attract economic development to this particular location, how can they drive more foot traffic to the downtown area to some of their businesses, and that sort of thing. And I just wanted to to let you know that we are going to do another round of technical assistance applications, and that will be occurring this spring. So if there's communities within Shawano County that may be interested in some economic development assistance, I would encourage you to reach out to myself, and I can send along my contact information. In addition, we're doing a continuity plan for the commission. So with COVID, there are a number of things that we had to change and modify based on our policies and procedures. So we're taking a look at some of those pieces, including cybersecurity, which is a big topic these days. And then also just in terms of what other policies at the commission can we modify and make more efficient. In addition, we're currently receiving funding for what's called the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation Main Street Bounce Back Program. And this program, we initially started in August of last year. We're working in partnership with WEDC, and the region received $3 million to provide $10,000 grants to small businesses that move into recently vacant locations. And those go to new or existing businesses or nonprofits. And for Shawano County, we've awarded 18 grants. That number is as of this today. We just did reviews for the checks to go out next week. And so that's approximately $1,800 that Shawano County has received in ARPA funding through this Main Street Bounce Back program. We have approved over 200 grant applications through our region. Initially, the program was for $3 million. Recently, we received a contract amendment for an additional $3 million, which will give the region a total of $6 million that'll go out to small businesses to move into these vacant locations. And they can use that for mortgage payments, they can use that for improvements in their business, that sort of thing. So those are just a couple of items that I just wanted to touch base on. The other big thing that is currently underway, as many of you know, is the federal transportation bill was approved in November. It's known now as the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, and so there's some funding that's going to be coming out for the Department of Transportation. I know that the DOT gave a presentation to the Wisconsin County Highway School last week about some of the funding for their local road improvement program, and so we'll be working in coordination with DOT and our local municipalities to assist in any way we can to ensure that that funding gets out for projects. So those are just a couple of highlights. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Any questions? Boy, they must want to get out of here in a hurry today. Not a one. All right, well, thank you very much for coming, Missy.
All right, well, thank you for having me.
Yep, and then if anybody does have any questions, you can go right on their website, East Central Regional Planning or PD&Z. They do have a member that comes up here, I believe, once a month?
Yes, I believe so. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you could direct questions to them and they could forward them on then too. So, thank you very much. Okay, and at the last executive committee, the hospital requested to have someone there to speak. And they kind of wrote me into, I was going to use my time on Friday at the radio program to try and promote getting vaccinated, because basically the hospitals are getting run right over right now. They have no beds, everything's full. So I thought I would ask Terry to give us just a little update on some statistics that she has from the health department.
Thank you, Tom. Good afternoon. I was just asked to kind of share some numbers. Our apologies for being quiet in the health department. I guess we've been kind of expecting these numbers to be pretty high after the holidays and that type of thing. So it wasn't a total surprise. And we have been keeping our websites up to date. However, over the last week, we have seen some improvements. So 2 weeks ago, we were at 987 positive cases over a 7-day period. And we ran the numbers just before I came up here, and we're down to 490. So that was really exciting. For Menominee County, that was at 216, and they're down to 101. pretty much what we really kind of were hoping and what we were kind of expecting with the holidays. We were going to get this surge throughout January, and they're starting to come down, so they're going in the right direction. I don't know what the hospital is experiencing this week, but we do know that they have been pretty much busting at the seams over the last month. So our hearts have been really kind of trying to work with that as much as possible. And getting vaccinated has been really all of ours actually, to get vaccinated because it really does make a difference. Over 50% of theirs that are in the hospital and are detrimental are not vaccinated. So it's just kind of a reality and a fact. If you do have any questions.
Go ahead, Marv. Could you use the mic, Marv?
Thank you. I was just wondering, of these positive cases that you said, like today was 490, how many of those are children, like in grade school or elementary school? Do you know?
I don't have the numbers exactly what they are. Most of them are, they kind of go across the gamut, but they are kind of like the 20, what I've seen is more the 20 to 50-year-old category, some extraneous below and above. But again, the vaccine does make a difference too, on how ill they get, because a lot of these are not, they're at home, they're not really having symptoms, that kind of thing. The ones in the hospital are the ones that pretty much are the unvaccinated. When I did, a couple of weeks ago, Julie Chakowski, who's the vice president of the Shawano, they did not have kids at that time, so that was the good news, but we know it's out there.
Okay, is that it, Marv? Joel Miller.
Very briefly, are your numbers generated through testing?
They're generated through the Department of Health Services, the favor. So yes, they would be through the testing.
So numbers could be skewed.
Absolutely,
non-
because of
yeah.
the home tests that we're seeing and that
Yes.
type of thing. Yeah, that's going to definitely
Thank
skew
you.
numbers. Yep, nope, you're right, Joe.
Okay, Jerry Erdman.
Yeah, quick question for you. Do you know of any individuals that have been vaccinated that have come down with COVID? And if so, has the COVID been a lot less symptomatic than had they not been vaccinated?
Well, you can only speculate if they had not been, right? But it is definitely, with the science and everything else, it is the ones that are not vaccinated that are ending up in the hospital and with the more severe cases.
Yeah, and I've got a daughter-in-law that's in the healthcare, and that's what she's running into. It's the unvaccinated that are really causing the problems.
Unfortunately.
It's unfortunate, and I know at the executive committee, I'm an individual that if there's an opportunity to prevent something, you do it. And if you don't want to do something, that's your privilege. But then don't pass it on to others.
Right, right.
So, and I did make a comment at the executive committee that, and I'm by myself, I'll make my comment. If people are worried about not getting COVID, and they're not worried about getting the shot, then the ones that don't get the shots, put them in the military and give them something to worry about.
I don't know where to take that.
Okay, well, I guess that's about it, Terry. I don't see anybody else looking to speak or questions, so.
All right, thank you,
Thank you very
guys.
much.
If you do have questions, give us a call. We'll do whatever we can.
Okay, the next thing I would have on the chairman's report is I'm sure by now most of you have seen what Jimmy sent out regarding the ARPA money. That basically they lifted all the restrictions on it. We will be able to spend that pretty much as we see fit. We're not really supposed to be spending it on just anything before April 1st, I believe it is. But there's another line in there where they tell you you can start and you can plan and you can appropriate it and you can have everything ready to go by that date. and then you can claim up to $10 million as your lost income. But you don't get any more money than what you got. So the 8 to 9 million that the county got, that's all we're gonna get. But we can still take all that as lost revenue, and we don't have to go through a long formula to calculate it, prove it, or anything. And the money will be ours to do what we see fit with. So with that in mind, Jimmy and I were talking, and with a few other ones I was. On your desk, you'll see a little propaganda, as Joe always likes to say. What we think would be good ideas of what to possibly target for the money. And Jimmy put down where he thought they should be, and I agree with him. They should be more long-term projects that we use this on, and things that we should kind of look for that would be a savings to county residents, and things that would be projects that the county is going to need to do within the next 3-4 years anyway, say as major building projects or re-roofs and items like that where they'd be quite costly, not just nickel and dime the money away on every little thing that comes along. And down on the bottom, we have their potential projects for discussion. The first one was approved at the last executive committee, was the $250,000 more for the highway department to use towards blacktopping. And we approved that because we're so far behind on the mileage of that should be paved. It's just drastic. I mean, things are getting worse and worse, and the state does not approach the funding issue. And so we decided to use that 250 for that. The rest of the items were just things that were up for discussion. 267,000 would possibly be for a fuel station at the East Highway shop. And the reason we were looking at that is because it would benefit not just the highway, it would also benefit Sheriff's Department is using the county highway departments in the west and the central, and they would be able to use the one in the east then. And it's not a big savings, but it does provide a convenient place for them to get it. It provides a small savings, and the money is also going through the highway department. It doesn't generate much, but I mean, if it's a couple cents a gallon, that's money that stays within our system. So that was one of the thoughts that we come up with. The highway department also has been looking for an extension on the end for the mechanics bay. And a lot of us don't understand that the highway buildings were built before Highway 29, and they're simply not big enough anymore. And that's gonna rear its head eventually. And the reason a lot of them are not big enough is they were designed for a truck with a wing. Well, we do our own blacktopping in that, so the trucks got a little bigger. And now with Highway 29, as soon as it became 4 lanes, now we have to have trucks with 2 wings, one on each side. So that takes a wider space in the shop, and they got them packed in there so tight, if you was to go over and take a tour of the shop, really, really early in the morning, there would even be some of them where the wings overnight, they tend to sag just a little bit, and if they don't keep them pulled up tight enough, they may be leaning on the next truck. That's how packed in they have them to get everything in. So that was another thought to possibly use some of the money on. Another one came from Kevin as just a suggestion. There are communication problems, and I believe they're primarily for the local fire departments and EMS. Is that correct, Kevin? Yes. Yeah. And if the county was to build a small tower on the west end and a tower over on the east end, we could solve a lot of them communication problems. There's dead areas around Mattoon and south of Mattoon, Bowler, and that area, to where you don't have very good reception. And for the EMS and that, it's quite important for them to be able to contact and get contacted. So then that was just another suggestion. Rough estimate for that would be about $1 million, about $500,000 for each tower. These are all, trust me, them are all, big figures, but we don't know exactly until we would really dive into them. Another one I thought would possibly be set aside $1 million of that money towards a new library. Either a new library or remodeling the existing one we have, because there is getting to be an awful lot of issues. It's an old building. We knew that when we got it from the city, that it wasn't much. But it served its purpose for a while when we needed a place to go. And maybe it's time to move on from that building. Between public property and the library committee, next Thursday, I believe at 5:30, we got proposals from 3 different companies to possibly give us a more detailed design and give us a rough idea of what it would really cost, some better numbers, to either remodel on the old one, if it's feasible to put another story on the old one, should we build new? There's all them questions that we don't feel any of us are really qualified to answer. And either one of them firms, that's mostly what they do. They build public buildings, high schools, libraries, courthouses, things of that nature. They'll have numbers real fast for us and get us in a better place to go. That at the executive committee, we did sign up to $60,000 for that study and for that preliminary groundwork. Because right now, we would have no idea how big the library exactly would have to be, how much a square foot about it costs right now. Once we get that decided of what would be the appropriate size, the next item that comes up then is, well, how much parking are you gonna need? How big of area would we have to buy, to construct a new library? What are the pros and cons of locating it in downtown Shawano compared to a little farther out? Things like that. That's what we're looking for them to help the committees with. And body cameras. Roughly $450,000 is needed for body cameras. Possibly use the money for funding the squad vehicle replacement program. So we have an established replacement program like the highway department does, which will go out into the future and should answer, so we're not getting squad car problems again all once in 10 years, that the squad cars are all wore out because nobody's been buying them. It should provide for a turnaround of them, so we have decent cars and not a big cost all at once. Crawford Center is going to be due for a new roof. Financial program, Jimmy?
Gary had me put that one on because we like you so much.
Okay. Another suggestion was, along with some of this, and possibly a combination, if we were to do the towers, maybe we could run fiber lines instead of doing more broadband. Maybe that would be another option. There's all kinds of projects that the county could use this money on, and these are only suggestions. And that's why I asked Jimmy to put this out there on everybody's desk. And I'd like all you people to think about it. If there's any suggestions you think that's going to be a need in the county that we're going to have, like say in the next 4 or 5 years, that we could possibly use some of this funding on to divert that need ahead of time, speak up, because we're looking for any ideas and all ideas. And we are going to move the ARPA money shortly, because right now it was placed into an account which is bearing almost no interest. The only problem is we're having troubles finding somewhere to go where we can get a little interest. That's not so easy nowadays in this day and age. But we've switched a fair amount over to Covantage Credit Union because they are paying in general usually about 0.3, it sounds sad, I know, 0.3% more sometimes 4%, 0.4% more than anybody else. But on an amount of money like this, that does add up in time. But we still have to keep it separate. We should for now, until that's all clear, that it's opened up and it's free to be used. Other than that, if there's any questions or comments, Gene Hoppy.
Mr. Chairman, you know, we can't keep people here when we train them, and after we get them trained, they go someplace else. Is there any chance of using any of this money to keep employees, to raise the pay for employees?
That's a good question, Gene. That's another thing to looked at. The only thing that we always got to remember with that though, and you've been around here long enough, is, you know, if we give a raise right now, once that money is gone, we got to make up for it somewhere. And, but it's glad to add it to the list. That's something too, there's a problem there. So, any other ones that you get, let Jimmy know, and we'll add them to the list, and all the suggestions we can get, they're not gonna hurt. Joe Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You kind of answered my question. My question was, where and when will we all be able to provide comments? So where do we do that? Thank you.
Okay. Deb Nofke.
Gene, you have a valid point. The problem is that this is a finite amount of money, and what are you going to do when it's gone? Because any raises compound on top of themselves in the future. That's all.
Is that it, Deb? Yep. Okay. All right, seeing no other questions or comments, then we'll move along, but just keep that in mind. And if somebody thinks we should handle the money in a totally different manner altogether than what we set up, bring it up. I mean, input from everybody is good. The more the merrier. One other thing I was just going to mention was the solar farm still is slowly moving along. Steve has got a little report, which we'll get at our public property meeting next Tuesday, that the woman who is handling it is going to handle, I believe, a division out east or something on that line, and they assigned another person for the development, but they're still working with the town to try and establish an ordinance and secure more land and more leases with private property owners out in that area. And he also did get a letter or two, Steve did, wondering about if there's other places where the RC Flying Club could go. And I had one individual call me wondering about all the ski trails and that. And I informed him that that's not all set in stone yet. We still have to sit down with the company when they get moved farther along, and we're gonna look at, I imagine public property it'll be with, and it'll have to go through the board, an approval of just how much land we're gonna let them use. And maybe we'll keep some of that stuff. Maybe we'll move some of that stuff. But there's a lot of questions to be answered. It's not like the one individual put to me that it's all cut in stone, that they're gonna be out there next year and it's gonna be built into a solar farm. It's got quite a ways to go, but that was the reason for I believe it was up to 5 years that they have to look into it and develop it. So that is about all that I have. We will move on then to item number 4, approval of the minutes from the December meeting. Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Randy, second by Gene. Any questions or comments on the meeting minutes? Okay, seeing none, then by acclamation, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 5, public comment. Is there anyone in the back that would like to speak? Okay, seeing none, we will move on. Item number 6, motion to deviate from the order of agenda. Motion by Deb Nofke, seconded by Devin Crejon. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Motion carried. Item number 7, reading of petitions, memorials. Any, Pam? None. Okay. Item number 8, ordinance number 1-22.
Approve text amendments to the Land Division Ordinance Number 3-10. Now therefore be it ordained by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 26th day of January 2022 that the Shawano County Land Division Ordinance, Ordinance Number 3-10, be amended as proposed with an effective date upon passage and publication submitted by the Planning, Development, and Zoning Committee.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Steve Geetz, seconded by Kathy Lubke. Do you wish to comment on it, Steve?
Let Jess answer any questions. She can kind of give you a synopsis of what happened.
Okay. Come on up, Jess.
Okay, so we made some changes to the land division ordinance. Currently, we were allowing plat of survey lot line adjustments for people to move property lines and then go through a bunch of hoops to get that done as their agreement and everything else. So we've removed that and made it all certified survey maps. It'll be a lot easier and better for the landowners. We won't have this back buildup of landowners not knowing what is required, what they have to do as the surveyors, as our local surveyor has now retired. And they were the best at doing that. We have all other surveyors coming in, and it'll make the process a lot easier on the landowners.
Okay. Good. Deb Nofke.
Plat of survey is a lot, you can get a certified plat of survey is a lot cheaper than an actual certified survey that has to have some additional hoops to jump through, town or city approval. Why wouldn't you just leave it as plat of survey, but take away some of the crazy hoops that had to be jumped through?
A lot of these hoops are precedented by court cases of landowners needing to acknowledge this is what they're doing, followed up by deeds, followed up by a number of things. A plat of survey has no review process on it. So the surveyor, it's that surveyor's opinion of that point in time, of their thoughts on it. A certified survey map is approved by the landowner, it's approved by the municipality that it's in, it's approved by the county, and it goes through and we make sure that it's meeting all state requirements to make sure it follows AE7 and the state statutes. So we're making sure everything's up to code, everything's doable. It runs through the townships then that have their own zoning. They get their own say in it, and it'll just clean everything up. Where the plat of survey, all it is that picture of that point in time. It has none of the approvals, none of the overchecks. And so,
But the plat of survey usually involves a sale or transfer, which is then recorded
not
on the
necessarily.
deed.
I could go order a plat of survey on anybody's property saying that this is my intent, but it does not necessarily take into account the landowner or the neighbors or the cities or villages' thoughts and requirements.
Okay, because I've just heard of like two neighboring landowners that want to go ahead and split a lane or something crazy, and they got to go through all these crazy hoops when all they want to do is split a lane, and they both agree.
Yes. And the certified survey map would take care of all those approvals, make everything correct. One we have right now that went through the plat of survey lot line adjustment. We're going on 4 years trying to get it corrected. The surveyor made some really bad mistakes, gave it to the title company recorded it. We're trying to get the title company to fix it. We are working with probate as there are people owning the property who are deceased. That would have been taken care of before a certified survey map, as all owners are required to sign. They would have been acknowledging that beforehand. This the certified survey map would eliminate a lot of this hassle on the landowners, and they know all this ahead of time.
Okay. Is that it, Deb?
Yep.
Okay, I see no other questions or comments. Then if you are in favor of ordinance number 1-22, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. Twenty-five yes, one no, so the resolution has passed. And one quick comment along with that too, I didn't say who was absent. Aaron couldn't make it, neither could Rick Geezy. And Mark's Boland's place is listed as vacant, but it still shows up as absent. Just a little quick tidbit, he did call me yesterday, Richie Perfecki. He had a little setback, but he thinks he's got everything straightened out now, and he will be back, he said, next week for the public safety meeting, and he said he's feeling a lot better right now than he has for quite some time. So you guys all got a little idea of what's going on there. Item number 9, ordinance number 2-22.
Now therefore, approve a text amendments to county zoning ordinance number 7-14. Now therefore be it ordained by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 26th day of January 2022 that the Shawano County zoning ordinance number 7-14 be amended as proposed with an effective date upon passage and publication submitted by the Planning, Development, and Zoning Committee.
Motion to approve. Motion by Gene Hoppy, seconded by Steve Geetz. Is there any questions or comments on this one? Okay. Seeing none, then we have a motion. Deb?
Can we ever do a brief explanation for everybody on this one as well?
Sure. I don't know if any of you have looked at our zoning ordinance and the red line changes. It's a 200-plus page document. Most of the pages have been redlined, and we have looked at it. I have re-alphabetized, renumbered, reorganized, which hasn't been done in since this ordinance came out, since 2014. They've taken shortcuts, so I went through and I redid the entire thing. We sat down as a department and we took a lot of the conditional uses that takes the 2-month meetings and that were just getting approved. We moved a lot of them to being just permitted, so you can get a permit at the counter. We've added some things that were not addressed in our ordinance previously, such as a multi-use facility, non-residential principal structures, personal antennas or towers, salvage transfer sites, shipping containers, and trucking facilities to our ordinance and added them in. So what we've done overall is made this a lot more easy to get what you want into your zoning district, trying to open it up and moving some of the processes to be quicker than where the conditional use permit takes a couple months between the postings and then the hearings and everything like that. So we've made them just permitted so you can come and get your stuff.
Okay. Good thing you're watching me, Deb. Now, is there any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, then if you are in favor of ordinance number 2-22, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. Resolution number 2-20, ordinance number.
Do you want to announce the vote?
Yeah, that's what I was, the resolution has passed. I was gonna start a little longer, Pam. You wanna get out of here in a hurry too, huh?
I thought you were going to the next one.
Ordinance number 2-22 is passed by a majority vote, 23 yes, 0 no, 3 absent, and 1 vacancy. Item number 10, resolution number 1-22. Pam?
To accept a highway safety grant awarded by the Wisconsin Department of Transportation. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 26th day of January 2022 that it does hereby approve the acceptance of the Wisconsin Department of Transportation grant for Shawano County in the amount of $25,000 for OWI Special Enforcement Operations to be used during 2022 and consistent with the other terms herein above. Be it further resolved that the Public Safety Committee shall oversee the proper receipt and expenditure of these grant funds. Submitted by the Public Safety Committee.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Tess, seconded by Jerry Erdman. Kevin, do you wish to comment on it?
This didn't come through the
Well, that's not,
public safety. I think this is a yearly
okay.
thing, a grant that they get.
Would you wish to comment on it, George?
I can just tell everybody it's the same thing we do every year. It's a highway safety grant for extra enforcement of OWI enforcement. It's a $50,000 grant, $25,000 goes to the city police department, $25,000 goes to the county, and it pays the officers wage and fringe benefits 100%. So the only cost of the county or the department would be for the gas for the vehicle.
Okay, thanks, George. Any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, then if you are in favor of resolution number 1-22, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. Okay, 23 yes, 0 no, 3 absent. The resolution is passed. Item number 11, resolution number 2-22.
To authorize the receipt of a TAD grant with a required match to offset the expenses of the Shawano County Drug Court Program each year for the years 2022 through 2027. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 26th day of January 2022 that the TAD grant application and award of $107,347 along with the $35,782 cash match as recommended by the Human Services Board is hereby approved each year for the years 2022 through 2027. Be it further resolved that the Human Services Board shall oversee the appropriate use of the TAD grant funds submitted by the Human Services Department Board.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Bill Swatala, seconded by Sandy Stanky. Normally it'd be up to Richie to comment, but he's not here. Would you like to comment on it a little, Rick, or?
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Could you come up to the front, Rick? I should have asked George to do it that way. It's, or use the mic if there's a mic back there. There you go, that'll work too.
All right, well, this basically is a 5-year grant. This was a competitive grant that we applied for. Jen Frost, who's really in charge of this, her hard work paid off really well here. So this is, it's a 5-year commitment, $35,000 a year to get $143,000 from the state. Now, kind of a really simple math. Drug court is going very well since we were here last, and we had a update with you about how things were going. Drug court has improved tremendously. It's working out well, and I think, we're going to continue to work out bugs as they are, but things are going well. And this is really, you couldn't ask for a better late Christmas gift than this for the county. So a minimal investment and a big return. So if you have any further questions in detail of the grant, Jen is your person to talk to, and she's right here, so I'll pass this on to her.
Okay, is there any questions at all? Okay, you're off the hook, Jen. Seeing
thank
none,
you.
If you are in favor of resolution number 2-22, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. Resolution 2-22 is passed, 23 yes, 3 absent, and 1 vacancy. Item number 12, resolution number 3-22.
To approve text amendments to the Town of Westcott zoning ordinance. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 26th day of January 2022 that it approves the text amendments to the Town of Westcott zoning ordinance with regards to number 1, 285-87, section A2, power of appeals. Amend number 8.2 from, and give public notice thereof by a Class 2 notice under Chapter 985 Wisconsin statutes in an official paper of general circulation to read and give public notice thereof by a Class 2 notice under Chapter 985. Number 2, 285-104B, public hearing and notice. Amend wording from A Class 2 notice in accordance with 985 of the Wisconsin statutes shall be published in the Town of Westcott's official newspaper once during each of the 2 weeks proper to the town board hearing, to read a Class 2 notice under Chapter 985. Number 3, all other provisions of ordinance number 2012-3 as amended through April 25th, 2018, 2021-01 and 2021-03, submitted by the Planning, Development, and Zoning Committee.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Kevin Conrad, seconded by Steve Geetz. Do you want to give us a little explanation, Steve or Jess?
Well, this is one of those things where, because Westcott was originally in the county zoning, and they went on their own now, but according to statute, anything they change in their zoning has to be rubber stamped by the county board. So
We still have to give them our blessing. Okay. Is there any questions or comments? Seeing none, then if you are in favor of resolution number 3-22, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. 23 yes, 0 no, 3 absent, and 1 vacancy. The resolution is passed. Item number 13, report by the Executive Committee on General Accounts.
December general accounts listing in the amount of $592,339.07.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Bill Swatala, seconded by Randy Young. Is there any questions or comments? Okay. Seeing none, if you are in favor of paying the bills, you would vote yes. Oh, Arlen, you got a quick question?
Yeah, I was just wondering that number 4, or the fourth down, BMO Harris Bank, November statement, $65,900. What is that?
You know, Jimmy?
That's the procurement card that we use through BMO Bank. So that you'll see is the bill through various departments across the county. That's what it is. Some things we pay with the procurement card rather than check. It's just what there's certain reasons why Kerry could allude onto that, but that's what occurred, Arlen.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Seeing none, then if you are in favor of paying the bills, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. $22 yes, 0 no, 1 abstention, 3 absent, and 1 vacancy. The resolution is passed. Item number 14, special orders or appointments. Pam?
You want me to read them?
I can read them also. Basically, everything is for the library this month. It would be to reappoint Sharon Beaversdorf for the Wittenberg Library Rep, Tricia Huffman, Tigerton Library Rep, Gina Shatters, Bondwell Library Rep, for another 3-year term to expire in January 2025. And I also found a volunteer to take the open spot for the Burnwood area, which would be Emily Gardner. She's a retired school teacher, to be the rep for the Burnwood Library to fill out the unexpired term of Jelaine Stadler. Do we have to do these each at once or do them all at once? Okay. Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Milt Marquardt, seconded by Deb Nofke. Is there any questions or comments by anyone? Okay. Seeing none, then by acclamation, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 15, acceptance of committee minutes. Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Devin Crejon, seconded by Kathy Lubke. Is there any questions or comments on the committee minutes? Okay, seeing none, and also by acclamation, if you are in favor of accepting the committee minutes as presented, aye. If not, no? All right, Milt, come on. All right, passed by a voice vote. Item number 16, board member comments or new business to be considered at a future meeting. Deb Nofke.
Here we go. Open government and the right to information is really important to me, so I feel like I have to say something here, since it is a public meeting. I received in the mail an anonymous record request asking me to respond via text. And it's always been my understanding that any response to a record is in itself a new record, subject to disclosure, and has to be retained and archived. As we all know, board members do not have the perk of any county-issued cell phone, which is good because that'd be a waste of tax money. And my personal cell phone, which I cannot obviously use, doesn't even have a camera. So I can't text a response. So this will have to suffice. Dear requester, I am not the legal custodian of the records that you seek. Much of the request material appears to deal with town boards. And Kathy Libke, and I have no idea what Kathy did or didn't do. Town boards are their own governmental units, and it is not a county board member's job to interfere, micromanage, or meddle in their affairs. They know what they're doing. County board persons support, I'm a support person. My job is to support the towns or become Mama Tiger if somebody picks on them. I do not have the information that you have requested. I am not the legal custodian, and I cannot text you any response. So your packet of information will be handed to Corp Counsel, but she's not here today, so I'll hand it to Jimmy and he can pass it along.
That sounds like a good route. Kathy Lubke.
I'm going to address this because apparently this letter has been going out to numerous municipal clerks with my name in the letter. Years ago, this person, every county board meeting, my phone would blow up with requests. And I went back then to Tony, what do I do? I had it listed, my personal phone, cell phone, with all the whatever records, because I felt my home landline was long distance. People could use my cell phone at no cost. Apparently, this person felt they were entitled, I should be careful, they were entitled to minutes of meetings that I never was at. And they kept asking me for all kinds of stuff. I had no idea what they were talking about. They even went towards my town chairman, who went and found a different cell phone and says, we don't know what you're asking for. It's our private phones. We will not respond via private. We gave our addresses, we gave a phone number, we will meet in person. Apparently that wasn't good enough. I'm talking back in, I think, 2017 this started. It's been quiet for the past year. In the last month, it blew up again. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to do. He's asking for minutes, handwritten notes from minutes of meetings. I was never on the committee. I don't know what they want.
Just forward it to Lorinda.
So that's what Tony has a big, I gave him
Yep.
every month a stack of stuff. And now I gave him, I think a week or two ago, I brought the Lorinda a bunch again. So I don't know, last I heard, they were able to figure out this letter came from the O'Connell or O'Connell Falls Post Office. So
Yeah, that'd be about
we're
right.
thinking it's kind of falling in place of what everybody assumes who it is, but
Oh.
I don't know what I did, but
He's
I'm
probably
sorry.
waiting on the text from 2017 yet. That's probably why he's just waiting on that 2017 text.
Could be.
Good
But
luck.
if there's something that comes up like this for the entire board, just get with Lorinda. We can assist with this stuff, and we're happy
And
to
I'm
help.
sorry, I just don't know what I did, but
No.
If everybody gets letters, you're gonna see my name in it, and I don't know what it's about, but,
Okay,
oh well.
we'll keep an eye
I'm
on
a
you.
big girl.
Deb Nofke.
I think the important thing here and why I spoke up is that if you respond to it, you should respond to a record request. You should, even if you don't have the records. And the temptation is to send a quick text, but you can't because the responding to the record in itself becomes a record. And how in the heck you're going to preserve that? So if there's some way to tell people that we don't get county-issued cell phones, we don't have any way to text you anything.
Just, Tess.
I got one of those letters too, and I just threw it away. But my comment is not on that. My comment is for Jimmy. Can you add this to your list? I would like to see a warming house consideration for the homeless people with the ARPA funds. Thank you.
Okay. Kathy, you want to go back to?
One more fast follow-up. Texting is not a required response. Written, phone, I'm talking, regular phone, but not texting is not legally a response, so we don't have to worry about that.
Okay. Well, it's been decided pretty much in the past that any of them requests, you just direct them to Corp Counsel and they will provide the answer to the individuals that's looking. Anything else that somebody wants to bring up? Okay. Then we are down to 17, claim report, County Board Supervisors mileage.
With 23 members present for today's meeting, the total amount paid out is $2,099.99.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Bill Spatala, seconded by Tess. Is there any questions or comments? Seeing none, then, if you wish to be paid for today's meeting, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. Oh, look at that, 23 yes, 0 no, 3 absent, and 1 vacancy. Next meeting date is February 23rd, 2022 at 3 p.m. And that only leaves item number 19. Motion to adjourn. Motion by Tess, seconded by Joel. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.